Colorado's hate crimes law changed with little notice. It impacts the Club Q case, but more so lesser-known crimes. Are bag fees changing how we shop for groceries? That's worth asking because they're about to expand statewide.
Nothing we use once for a few minutes to carry an item should then go on to pollute our community for hundreds of years.
Breweries need bottles. They're harder to get with supply chain issues. Meanwhile, there are millions of dollars worth just sitting in our landfills. And we say goodbye to the man who's lived inside your television for 39 years. Gary Shapiro's farewell, tonight on Next. Colorado's hate crime laws have changed in a way that will impact the prosecution of the alleged Club Q shooter. Prosecutors said this week they're pressing ahead with hate crimes charges in addition to murder charges, despite the defense team saying that the shooter identifies as non-binary.
Can't comment on a specific case, but I can say that there's no provision under the law that says if someone actually is or claims to be a member of a protected group that they're then immune from committing a hate or bias-related crime.
That's Boulder District Attorney Michael Doherty talking with us about that one possible misconception. And he explained how just last year, Colorado law widened the scope for prosecuting hate crime charges. Before then, prosecutors had to prove that the crime was solely motivated by hate, which can be difficult. Now, with this change in the law, prosecutors only have to prove that bias was part of the motive in order to pursue hate crime charges.
So with hate crimes, it was particularly important for us to enact this legal language that allows us to charge someone when it's a mixed motive, where we could show in whole or in part it's based on hate.
Doherty noted that new law had bipartisan support from Colorado's district attorneys. Hate crime charges turn out to be largely symbolic in cases that involve the worst crimes, like murder, which carry far larger sentences. Doherty says the change in the law is particularly significant in the prosecution of hate crimes charges that get layered onto lower-level offenses like assault or vandalism. So Denver is transitioning to reusable shopping bags, and I remember mine every time. I remember them when I'm standing at the checkout, and I recall that I left them at home. That foolishness costs 10 cents a bag now in many places on the Front Range, including Denver, but soon it'll be statewide as of the first of the year. Our Steve Stager looks at whether fees are changing habits, like forgetfulness.
Really seeing a positive reduction overall, and honestly a lot faster than we were anticipating.
Fort Collins hasn't been charging 10 cents for bags too long, only since May, but the city says since then people have reduced their use of one-time use bags by 85%.
A lot of people, if they only have a couple items, they're like, I'm going to skip the bag. Like, it used to be convenience to put it in a plastic bag.
Holly Pummel leads the effort in Fort Collins. How does she know that the reduction is real? The grocers tell her team how many bags they buy, and her team is literally out there counting.
Standing outside the grocery store with clickers and just counting how many paper bags are coming out in 15 minutes.
But just because cities are seeing significant cuts in single-use bags, it doesn't mean people aren't still using plastic. In Boulder, where single-use bags decreased by 70% after its 10-cent fee went into effect nearly a decade ago, people still buy about 4.5 million plastic and paper bags a year. In Denver, people have bought about 38 million single-use plastic bags since the fee kicked in last summer.
We have an estimate that Colorado goes through about 4.6 million single-use plastic bags a day.
Danny Katz leads the Progressive Public Interest Research Group, COPERG.
Those bags are going to take hundreds of years to break down if they ever will.
Starting in January, municipal boundaries won't matter anymore when it comes to plastic bag fees. A new state law requires them everywhere. And by 2024, most retailers will be required to phase out single-use bags entirely. Walmart's already getting a head start, announcing they will ditch both paper and plastic bags in Colorado stores next month. In the meantime, Katz says the fees everywhere should help people adjust and remember to bring their own.
It's a way to help people transition away from, sort of being told it's totally fine, grab a free bag, there's no cost whatsoever, to actually realizing there is a cost.
So 6 cents of the 10-cent fee will go to the municipalities to fund recycling programs. The rest will go to the retailer to buy things like bags if they need to. After plastic bags are banned in 2024, stores could still provide paper bags, but that, Kyle, will still cost you 10 cents, even when you're at the register.
I want to post up in one of these Walmart stores on the day that they get rid of paper and plastic bags. That's going to be pandemonium if they stay true to this sign and just ditch them.
They're trying to give folks a heads up to let them know that it's coming. And that's Danny Katz actually said that's going to be really important, that they not only just take the bags away, but you also do some education about why you're doing that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd be paying 10 cents for them, or in a year, you won't have this opportunity. So it's going to kind of train you to do this in advance. It hasn't trained me very well because I often, like you, get to the grocery store and I'm like, darn it.
No. And what I end up doing is I pile 12 items into my arms and I run out ashamed like a thief. I mean, I've paid for everything, but my arms are full of things like a thief.
I just rock it Costco style. You put it in the cart and you just take it out to the car and just throw everything in the trunk. But then when you get home, that's the hard time.
Oh, look at us just kicking our problems down the road. All right. Thank you, Steve. So Ask Coloradans, we'll tell you, hey, we're green. We love the environment. We recycle. Actually, we're horrible at it. It's costing us tens of millions of dollars a year. Anusha Roy explains.
Don't mistake this for a pile of trash. It actually represents a lot of money.
So we are glass to glass.
Celine Andriano is with this company that takes this pile of used bottles and light bulbs and mugs and processes them so they're ready to go to local companies.
Rocky Mountain Bottling Company.
They then make new bottles while saving money.
And you keep everything local. All of your hauling costs are lowered.
It seems like a win-win situation, but Colorado isn't set up for it.
Well, there is an issue of supply because Colorado has lacked the centralized model for recycling throughout the state.
That means glasses and boxes, cans and jars are ending up in the landfill, according to Suzanne Jones, the executive director of EcoCycle, a recycling organization.
That represents over $100 million in value. A new can out of an old can, you save over 90% of the embodied energy.
Same goes for glass. Recycling saves mining for new materials. It can also be melted at a lower temperature, reducing the carbon footprint of bottle manufacturers. Not to mention the stuff being thrown away is coveted.
Some of the same material that both international corporations and small local businesses have been having trouble sourcing in the past few years with all these, supply chain disruptions.
Like beer. Some companies started buying cans from other countries. That increased their cost of business, which resulted in price hikes when there were cans buried right here in Colorado. A big reason that happens is because the state is at the bottom of the list for recycling and composting.
6 of the 10 largest cities in Colorado do not have convenient curbside recycling.
The only way is up for Colorado.
That comes in the form of new laws trying to create a new recycling ecosystem.
All Coloradans will have free and convenient access to recycling services.
More resources are going towards attracting companies that can process recycled materials and use them, as well as efforts to streamline sorting through recycled materials.
So it is going to end up taking several years for all of this to go into full effect. And because the cost of recycling services has been such a big barrier, some companies will now be chipping in to cover those costs, especially when they can use those recycled materials for their business. It's actually a system you see in other countries, but has been facing a lot of pushback in the U.S. And now Suzanne with EcoCycle said companies seem to be coming around to that idea, getting on board. That includes here in Colorado.
I feel like we're talking about stuff that we talked about how long ago when you and I were like school kids. And I mean, our younger colleagues on the next team will remind us we're old now.
Yeah.
And we're still talking about the same stuff.
Oh, it's amazing. We were just talking about how old we were a couple hours ago. Yeah, 100%. But you know what was happening in Colorado was a lot of these decisions were being left up to individual counties and cities. And a lot of good work is happening at that level, too. But the folks we talked to said there needed to be something statewide legislation to help get everyone on the same page.
All right, Nusha, thank you. Hey, we're buying holiday meals for families in need in Jefferson County. Everybody wants to get in on that. Your latest Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign has raised $19,000 and counting for the food insecurity work that's done by the nonprofit Community Table. They've been around 40 years doing this work in North Jeffco. They figure $25 covers the cost of a holiday meal with all the trimmings for a family of 4. That's the buying power that they have working with Food Bank of the Rockies. But Community Table does much more for our neighbors in Jeffco. Meals for school kids to take home on the weekends. Help for families that are down on their luck and losing a place to live. They've got a food pantry where people can come in and shop, just like a grocery store. Scan that QR code on your screen if you'd like to join me and a bunch of Next viewers in helping Community Table set the table for our neighbors this holiday season. They do so much. It's really special to be a part of it.
Denver Public Schools drops its only online learning option for young kids, leaving families scrambling for an alternative.
Closing this option closes all options for 200 families.
And some familiar faces return to say goodbye to one of the kindest, most talented people to ever appear on this screen. Goodbye to Gary Shapiro. Next.
Denver Public Schools added an online elementary school option during the height of the COVID pandemic. It was designed to be temporary. Some families have come to like it for a variety of reasons. It's being discontinued at the end of the school year, so that leaves parents and students racing to find another option. This week, more than 200 families with students enrolled in Denver Online Elementary were told the DPS decided not to continue the program next school year. The district says it'll help parents transition their students back to classrooms. But some parents have said that they don't see in-person learning as an option, like the Bartels, Jeremy and Kristen. They enrolled 2 of their children in the online elementary school because they have an immunocompromised family member.
There is no other option. So this idea that we're going to relocate students, we're not going to be relocating students to a format that works for them.
We had a meeting with some of the parents last night, other parents last night, and a majority of the parents in that meeting were saying that they are going to be interested in switching to homeschooling, which is going to take money away from DPS.
Families that rely on Denver Online Elementary plan to petition the school board trying to reverse this decision. They say that the program is doing a good job serving students that struggle with housing insecurity or illnesses in their families or some special education requirements. Barb Kirkmeyer's consolation prize for losing one of Colorado's closest congressional races is getting a more powerful role in the Republicans' minority at the state legislature. State Senator Kirkmeyer is now getting a hand in writing the state budget. Today, the Senate Minority Caucus selected Kirkmeyer to serve on the Joint Budget Committee through the end of her term in 2025. She replaces Bob Rankin, who's retiring halfway through his 4-year term. Rankin was seen as one of the last centrist Republicans left in the state legislature.
All right, everyone, time to get a quick check of your forecast on this cool Friday evening, but still pretty comfortable. HD Doppler radar not showing much right now, nothing but clear skies to be worried about. As we head from this evening and into the early hours of tomorrow morning, maybe a few flurries just to the north of Steamboat Springs. Otherwise, things are looking picture perfect. Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon, things are going to be dry. Skies are clear, especially out towards the east. A few more clouds possible from Steamboat Springs down through Glenwood Springs and Grand Junction, and possibly even pushing into the metro region by Sunday morning before dissipating by Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. As we head through this evening, temperatures drop back down into the middle 20s. Tomorrow, temperatures right back into the upper 40s and lower 50s. Our unofficial high temperature for today was 49 degrees, so let's do it all over again. High temperature of 50 degrees. Our next pattern flip, it comes next week, though. That cold air is going to be in place, and we could feature a little bit of snow and extremely gusty winds. That starts on Monday night and continues through Tuesday. 7-day forecast showing just that. Get outside on Sunday, and even on Monday during the day, things are looking pretty nice. Cold air moves into the picture on Tuesday with a high temperature of 29 degrees.
After 39 years at 9 News, Gary Shapiro is headed for retirement with a smile.
It's such good news.
He joins us for our favorite Friday tradition and brings along some people you'll recognize. Next.
No one will ever again do what Gary Shapiro did here at 9 News. This morning, Gary wrapped up 39 years on the air here, part of his half-century career in journalism. He's been a presence every morning for generations of Coloradans. He's been a kind coworker, masterful writer, and recently a strong voice against the rise of misinformation. Gary Shapiro was the right guy at the right time. I hope you will indulge us making his good news, his coming retirement, into our good news tonight.
Well, it worked out so well that I get to retire from 9 News on Good News Friday because it's such good news. Because I get to reflect back on 39 wonderful years at this place.
Well, as Gary would always like to say, yikes.
Hi, I'm Mark Cornetta, President and General Manager at 9 News. And my good news of the day, Gary Shapiro.
I'm Jesse Ogas. I'm the Director of Corporate Social Responsibility and Community Affairs. It's Friday. It's a great day.
Hello, my name's Darren Pearson. My good news of the day is I got to speak a lot with Gary while working here, and he told me a great story once of how he grew up in the same hometown as Johnny Carson.
It's also a great day to celebrate the leaving, the retirement, so to speak, of an amazing human being.
Hi, my name is Manny Sotelo. I am a television news photographer here at 9 News. My good news is I've had almost 38 years of working with Gary Shapiro.
You've been an incredible mentor to every single person that's in this room now and everyone that has walked through those doors for the last 39 years.
The times I've been out with him out in the field, he gets treated like he's just like an ordinary person.
I'm Tim Ryan. I'm the director of content here at 9 News, and my good news is that my friend Gary Shapiro not only made it through the week, he made it through a 39-year career at 9 News, and he's still going strong.
Yikes.
My good news today is that I've been able to spend 11 years next to Gary Shapiro as a mentor and as a friend.
I'm Kevin Vaughn, an investigative reporter here at 9 News. I started here in late October of 2015, and the first time I met Gary was at a 9 Cares Colorado Shares event.
It kind of burns.
Gary said, you know, we're here at 9 Cares Colorado Shares, and the first thing I want to do is introduce our new investigative reporter, Kevin Vaughn.
My good news is that I got to be with one of my best friends today on what's such a happy day for him. I love you, Gary.
And after all these years, it's taken Gary Shapiro's retirement to get me from behind the camera to in front of the camera. My good news of the day is that I got to know Gary Shapiro, a true friend, a true mentor, and always somebody that has a kind word to say about everyone.
Gary has been a blessing to this community.
Best of luck, Gary. Congrats on your retirement after 39 years.
I'm sure we'll get together for a beer or two.
And I wish him the best, and this is just a great day.
So anyway, I hope it's good news for you on this Friday, and I'm still going to be around. I'm going to be doing stories now and then, so you can't get rid of me that easy.
Good news indeed. Hey, that is the power of Gary Shapiro's friendship. You have heard Byron Reed's stories and his voice on this air for years and years, and that's the first time you've seen his face because he wanted to say something about his friend Gary. First thing that comes to mind when I think about Gary Shapiro is the trust that he has built in this community, and trust truly is earned, and he's worked for a long time to earn your trust. Congratulations, Gary. Enjoy what's coming next for you and your family. You know what? Spare me the picture-perfect holiday photos people put on Instagram. That stuff's boring. I want to know about when the holidays went hilariously wrong at your place. First Year Holiday Fails is next. It's the thought that counts this season, which is why we celebrate your holiday fails every year. They're funnier than the good stuff. Maybe you're like Ken, who accidentally turned into an elf killer when he tried to do a good deed and snowblow his neighbor's walk. All he ended up doing was accidentally shredding the inflatable elf. Perhaps you can empathize with Kara, who left her holiday table unattended just long enough to return to see her dog Grace going to town on the turkey. Share this good stuff. Come on, it's great. It makes for fantastic TV. Send us the stories of when a holiday's gone sideways with your family. Email next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag #HeyNext. Lisa writes in about Gary Shapiro's retirement after 39 years with 9 News. Nobody told a story like Gary, Lisa says. That I'll miss. In his last few years, he was always the adult in the room. Best of everything, Gary. Daniel says, how many times have I gone absent-mindedly into the store without the reusable bags that I have in the car? I'm with you, Daniel. I always remember to put them in the car. I just don't bring them into the store. And Shelley says, Kyle, double-breasted jackets need to be unbuttoned before you sit down. Shelley, technically all jackets should be unbuttoned when you sit down. A lot of newscasters skip it because it kind of looks weird on TV. As for this thing, I unbutton this and it starts to billow out like I'm an 1800s sea captain. So, button it up. See you next time.